got some more breaking news which is coming in from the United States of America with regards to the trade deal that will take place between India and the US. New message coming in from Donald Trump. He's now saying that the 9th July trade deadline is not a fixed deadline, and also has been saying that he wants the barriers to be removed, the trade barriers to be removed with India. Pranay, we are also seeing how Donald Trump is saying that the July 9 trade deadline is not a fixed date. He's being a little flexible about it. Said can extend the deadline or even shorten it.
Aishwarya, you know that President Donald Trump, when he announced his tariff policy, he announced with a very, a very strict tariff thing he is going to implement, and then he started having negotiations. Then he opened the door of negotiation with various countries, including China. You remember that, how he dealt with China. Initially, there was a trade war between US and China, and it went up to 145% of tariffs. And later on, they held their rounds of negotiation, and recently they announced the breakthrough in those negotiations. Regarding India, though India was one of the early starters as far as the trade negotiation is concerned, which President Donald Trump himself has recognized. But yesterday he said that regarding India, he thinks that US and India are going to reach a deal where the Americans will get a right to go and do trade. This is what, quote unquote, President Donald Trump said, and that he said that right now the American businesses are restricted, but now you can walk in there and you can't even think about what we are looking at. It's a full trade barrier dropping, which is unthinkable. And he said that I'm not sure that this is going to that is going to happen, but as of this moment, we agree that that is going to be India and trade. So this is what he said yesterday.
Right.
We do not know that what exactly will be the shape of the bilateral trade agreement, because some of the tariff things are still in U.S. courts, Aishwarya,
right.
And the court will decide that how much rights he can exercise as president, because the Congress also has some say in it.
Right, Pranay, please stay on with me. Let's listen into what US President Donald Trump has said with regards to having a trade deal with India.
Is that July 9th date a set for tariffs to snap
No.
back, or could there be a...
We can do whatever we want. We could extend it. We could make it shorter. I'd like to make it shorter. I'd like to just send letters out to everybody. Congratulations, you're paying 25%.
News that's coming in is Donald Trump, who has halted trade talks with Canada. Donald Trump said Canada is a very difficult country to trade with. Tax by Canada that is being levied on American goods is not correct. He's in fact even promised new tariffs for Canada in the next 7 days. So this is Donald Trump flexing his muscles with Canada and saying that Canada is a difficult country to do trade with. Let's listen into what US President Donald Trump has said with regards to doing trade with Canada.
So Canada put a charge on some of our companies, and Canada's been a very difficult country to deal with over the years. We hear Canada, we have a great relationship with the people of Canada, but it's been very difficult. And they put a charge, and they were a little bit early, we found out about it. So, and we have all the cards, we have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad, but they have, economically, we have such power over Canada. I'd rather not use it, but they did something with our tech companies today trying to copy Europe. They copied Europe. It's not going to work out well for Europe either, and it's not going to work out well for Canada. They were foolish to do it. And so I said we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their act.
With me on the story, Pranay, will he do it? Will he not do it? We have seen a lot of ifs and buts when it comes to US President Donald Trump. What exactly will happen in the coming days is a big question mark. In fact, the entire world is now looking at how to do trade with the United States of America.
This is what President Donald Trump is. He always starts with a hyperbolic statement, and then he concedes, then he gives, some kind of way out. This is what his trade negotiations, this is what his visa policies, this is what his policies are there. But I think he is, as he says that he is a peacemaker, he's a deal maker. He wanted to have a deal. But this statement, which you heard regarding the Canada trade negotiations and Canada deal, this has come at a time when he recently visited Canada, and for the G7 summit, he had a meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney. And now, after returning from Canada, he has announced during the press conference he held on June 27. And there he announced the abrupt termination of all trade discussions with Canada. And this is seen as very significant escalation in U.S.-Canada economic relations, because the decision was primarily in response of Canada's implementation of digital service tax. Because some of the American tech companies, including Amazon, Google, and Meta, they have been targeted by Canada with additional levied with additional taxes and tariffs. And therefore, President Donald Trump, you heard him, that some of the companies have been taxed by Canada, and therefore he is announcing termination of the trade negotiation and terming Canada as a difficult country to deal with. And he cited the digital service tax as the primary reason for halting the trade talks, regarding the taxes, and which imposes a levy on revenue generated by the US tech giant companies. And Canada was viewed by President Donald Trump as a very unfairly targeting, country which is targeting the American business.
Right. Thank you, Pranay, giving us all those details. As my colleague also pointed out, this is Donald Trump for the world. Whether there will be new tariffs that will be levied, only time will tell. But at the moment, with regards to Canada, Donald Trump said Canada is a difficult country to trade with. With regards to India, he said it is unthinkable, but he's looking at a trade deal where India removes all the trade barriers with the United States of America.